All right, 90s fans, get ready because today we are diving deep into a film that I think it's safe to say is still a total mind-bender.
I think you're right.
The Usual Suspects.
It's a classic.
This neo-noir mystery thriller from 1995.
Right in the heart of the 90s.
It really, left its mark on film history.
Totally. And you know what's so interesting about The Usual Suspects is how perfectly it fits into what was happening in Hollywood at the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, audiences were craving something different. Yeah. They were tired of the same old blockbuster formulas.
I mean, you really had this, explosion of independent cinema in the mid-90s.
Exactly.
And The Usual Suspects with its gritty style and that plot, it just fit right in.
And it proved that you didn't need all the flashy special effects to make a truly unforgettable film.
It's all about the story.
Exactly. And The Usual Suspects had a story that people couldn't stop talking about.
It was the ultimate water cooler movie.
Right. Everyone was trying to figure out.
Who was Kieser Soze?
Exactly. And that ending.
It's going to get me started.
Oh, man. That ending?
I mean, Kevin Spacey as Verbal Kint.
Brilliant.
The unreliable narrator, perfected.
Right.
Speaking of unreliable narrators, just wanted to remind you to subscribe to that 90s pod.
Yes.
And if you're liking this deep dive,
spread the word.
Tell your friends.
Let's get the 90s love going.
Back to The Usual Suspects, though.
Yeah, let's
How this movie really messed with all of our heads.
Totally. It completely changed the way we looked at narrators in film.
Right.
Before The Usual Suspects, you could pretty much trust what the narrator was telling you.
Like they were the voice of authority.
Exactly. But then Verbal Kint comes along, and suddenly you can't believe anything you see or hear.
You're constantly questioning everything.
It's like the whole movie is one giant puzzle box.
With Verbal holding all the pieces.
And he's not giving them up easily.
It's brilliant.
Totally. But the brilliance of the film goes beyond just the unreliable narrator.
Oh, yeah.
It's how it uses those classic film noir elements.
You know, the dark, shadowy atmosphere.
Yeah, that sense of paranoia and dread.
But it gives them a 90s update.
Exactly. It's neo-noir.
Which, for anyone who's not familiar with the term.
Yeah, it's basically film noir, but modernized.
So, think like Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah, great example.
Or even the cynicism of Chinatown.
Absolutely, but with a distinctly 90s vibe.
And The Usual Suspects really embraces that neo-noir style.
Fully commits.
It's right there in the dimly lit interrogation room.
Oh, yeah.
The characters who are all morally ambiguous.
You never know who to trust.
And that constant feeling like someone is always watching you.
It's unsettling.
In the best way possible.
Totally. Even the way the film is shot contributes to that feeling.
How so?
Well, think about all those close-ups.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on Verbal's hand.
While he's telling his story.
Exactly. It's like we're trapped in this claustrophobic space with him.
We're right there in that interrogation room.
Exactly. And the music.
Oh, the music.
That haunting jazz score.
By John Ottman.
It just adds another layer to the whole atmosphere.
It's so good.
So good. And it all comes together.
All the elements.
The visuals, the music, the performances.
Let's create this
totally immersive
cinematic experience.
It's a masterclass in filmmaking.
Speaking of the performances.
Ooh, yes.
We got to talk about how The Usual Suspects handles this whole anti-hero thing.
Absolutely. It was such a defining aspect of 90s cinema.
Right, everyone was obsessed with.
Characters who weren't so easy to define.
Good or bad.
Exactly. They blurred the lines.
And The Usual Suspects takes that idea and just runs with it.
Oh, for sure.
You've got this whole crew of criminals.
Each with their own shady past.
And their own questionable motives.
It's hard to root for any of them.
And yet,
you find yourself drawn into their world.
You're fascinated by them.
Totally. And I think that speaks to a certain cultural anxiety.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That was brewing in the 90s.
This disillusionment with authority figures.
That feeling that the systems we trusted
were maybe not so trustworthy after all.
Exactly. And you see that reflected in The Usual Suspects.
For sure.
The way the police are portrayed.
The corruption that's hinted at throughout the story.
It all taps into that sense of paranoia.
And uncertainty.
That was so prevalent in the 90s.
Yeah, and that fascination with anti-heroes.
It didn't just disappear with the 90s.
Oh, absolutely not.
The Usual Suspects paved the way for shows like Breaking Bad.
Or The Sopranos.
Where we're asked to empathize with characters.
Do some pretty terrible things.
Exactly. It's The Usual Suspects gave us permission to explore those gray areas of morality.
Right, to question the simple idea of good versus evil.
And that's a powerful thing.
Both in storytelling.
And in how we view the world around us.
Exactly. But what's so remarkable about The Usual Suspects,
Yeah.
is that it manages to do all of this
Explore these complex themes.
while still being a super entertaining thriller.
Yeah, it's a wild ride.
You're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
It's a testament to the filmmaking,
The acting.
the writing. It all just comes together perfectly.
And, speaking of how this film came together,
Ooh, behind-the-scenes stuff?
let's dive into some fun facts.
I'm ready.
Trivia,
Hit me with it.
about the making of The Usual Suspects.
Let's go.
All right, so first up.
The title.
Yeah, the title.
Where'd it come from?
The Usual Suspects.
Hmm.
Any guesses?
Well,
It's actually
yeah.
a term from police jargon.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
It refers to...
Wait, let me guess.
Uh-huh.
Those recurring suspects?
Yeah,
The ones the cops see all the time.
exactly.
The usual suspects.
See, I told you it was simple.
Yeah, but it works on, so many levels.
Yeah.
You think it's just about those small-time crooks?
In the lineup.
Yeah.
But it's also about this whole...
Deception thing.
Yes.
We're tricked into thinking it's a straightforward case.
We're led to believe these guys are just...
Nobody's special.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, bam.
The rug is pulled out from under us.
It's brilliant.
It's such a clever title.
For sure.
Speaking of clever,
What?
did you know
Tell me.
Stephen Baldwin
Oh, wow.
was almost cast as Verbal Kint?
Really?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Really?
Kevin Spacey just, owns that role.
He's so good.
It's hard to picture anyone else.
Totally.
His performance is
It's
just...
so essential to the whole film.
It's like the heart of it.
That mix of vulnerability and cunning
It's mesmerizing.
completely pulls you in,
You believe every word he says.
even though you know he's probably lying.
Exactly.
It's amazing.
And, we got to give credit to the writer, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Christopher McQuarrie.
That screenplay is a masterpiece
The way he weaves this intricate story.
with all those twists and turns.
It's incredible.
Brian Singer.
The director,
Yeah.
he brought that script to life.
He had this vision and he executed it perfectly.
Speaking of Singer's direction,
Uh-huh.
he did something really interesting.
What's that?
He shot a lot of the film in sequence.
Whoa, hold on.
I know.
That's unusual.
Especially for a film with such a
Jumbled timeline.
toady.
But I bet it really helped the actors
Oh, yeah.
to stay in the moment.
And react authentically.
It's like they were experiencing the story
as it unfolded.
in real time.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
It also shows you how much trust there was.
Between the director and the actors.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It was a true collaboration.
They were all in it together,
Building this puzzle.
piece by piece.
And speaking of puzzle pieces,
We can't forget about
oh, I know what you're going to say.
one of the most iconic lines.
From any movie ever.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Chills. Literal chills.
That line is pure gold.
It sums up the whole movie.
Equally.
It's like
Knowledge to the gut.
it makes you question.
Is Keyser Soze real?
Oh, is he just...
A figment of Verbal's imagination.
We're left wondering.
Even after the movie ends.
It's a question that's even more relevant today.
Oh, yeah.
In a world where...
Information is everywhere.
But the truth...
Feels harder to find.
than ever.
We're constantly bombarded with
Conflicting narratives.
fake news,
Propaganda.
propaganda.
The Usual Suspects predicted it all.
Totally. It taps into that primal fear
Of being manipulative.
of not knowing what's real.
And let's not.
It's unsettling, but also kind of brilliant.
Right.
Oh, before we go any further,
Yeah.
just a reminder to subscribe to that 90s pod.
If you're enjoying this deep dive into The Usual Suspects,
And tell a friend.
spread the 90s love.
Now, back to the movie.
One of the things that makes The Usual Suspects so powerful
Yeah.
is that it's more than just...
a crime thriller.
It's a reflection of
The anxieties of the 90s.
that sense of disillusionment.
The loss of innocence.
Think about all the political scandals.
The economic uncertainty. Even the rise of grunge music.
With its themes of alienation and angst.
The Usual Suspects captures all of that.
It's a film that speaks to a specific moment in time.
But its themes are timeless.
Portrayal, manipulation, the search for truth.
These are things that resonate with everyone.
No matter what era you live in.
It's a film that makes you think.
About the world.
About human nature.
About the masks we wear.
And the secrets we keep.
It's a powerful film.
It stays with you.
Long after you've seen it.
So,
yeah.
We've talked about the plot, the characters,
The filmmaking.
the cultural context.
All that good stuff.
But I'm left with this one question. Does the film's effectiveness depend entirely on the element of surprise?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Would it still be as captivating?
If you knew the ending.
Exactly.
Oh, it's a tough question.
Because on one hand,
The twists and turns are what make it so thrilling.
right, you're constantly guessing.
Trying to stay one step ahead,
But on the other hand,
even if you know
you can still appreciate
the brilliant storytelling,
acting.
the way everything is so carefully crafted.
It's like watching a magic trick.
When you know how it's done,
You might not be as surprised.
but you can still admire
The skill,
the technique.
the artistry.
Exactly.
So maybe knowing the ending,
Actually enhances the experience.
in a way,
You can pick up on all the little details,
the foreshadowing,
the clues that were hidden in plain sight.
it becomes a different kind of viewing experience,
More analytical.
but no less rewarding.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion.
You keep discovering new things.
With each rewatch,
So I guess the answer is,
yes and no.
The Usual Suspects is a film that rewards multiple viewings.
Whether you know the twist or not.
It's a film that keeps on giving.
So what do you say?
Should we give it another watch?
I am.
So there you have it.
Our deep dive
Into the twisty world.
of The Usual Suspects.
I mean, we covered it all.
We talked about the plot.
The characters, oh man, those characters. The filmmaking
And how this film really...
became a cultural phenomenon.
It's amazing how a movie from 1995...
It still feel
so relevant today.
right.
I hope you enjoyed this trip back to the 90s.
Yeah, it's been fun.
If this is your first time listening to That 90s Pod,
Welcome to the party.
make sure to hit that subscribe button.
And tell your friends.
We've got tons of deep dives.
Into all your favorite 90s stuff.
Movies, music, TV shows.
You name it.
We're here to help you relive.
All the best of the 90s.
And until next time,
Stay rad.
keep those 90s vibes alive.